Thank you. Glad to be here.
So I want to also say thank you for coming and taking time out of your Friday evening to talk to us. I know you're in the same time zone as we are, and I know it's prime time dinner time. So thank you again for doing this on a Friday night.
No problem. I ate early.
Okay. All right. So Kathy McDaniel, you had a near death experience, not deaf experience. You still have your hearing. This was a near
What?
death experience,
Yeah,
and
that was
and
good. That was good.
and Madness had asked us in our pre-show meeting, what happened? How did she almost die? I said, you know what? I honestly don't know, and we're going to find out tonight. So why don't we start there? Tell us how you almost died.
Okay. I was taking care of a best friend who had leukemia. We had to come up to Seattle, Washington to go to a specialty hospital. And it was supposed to take 3 months, and it actually took almost 9 months. So there's only one other caregiver, and we were, like up all the time, very little sleeping. So he passed away. He was only 53, which he was just about 6 months older than I was. And I was a wreck, physical, mental, heart was broken. And there happened to be a flu going around, and I'd gone to it was a choir thing down in Southern California with a friend, and I caught it. So anyway, by the time I got home, it was like COVID. It's very much like COVID. So it went to my lungs. Um, I woke up in the middle of the night, coughing blood, called my friend. He came and picked me up, took me to the doc in the box, no pulse, put me in an ambulance, threw me in the hospital. Uh, I woke up and my family was there. I was out for a couple of days, I guess, and they said that they really didn't know how to treat this. They were going to put me into a drug-induced coma and throw the book at me, and I would be given something called white amnesia, and it would take my brain offline, and I would remember nothing. They hoped to save me, but couldn't give any. It was about 38% chance of making it at that point. So I said goodbye to everybody, and they traked me. And after I went out and put me in the coma, and I prepared to just, disappear. But that's not what happened.
So hold on. Let me jump in here. So they're about to put you under, and you're thinking, this is it. Like this is your last moments on Earth. Is that how I'm understanding this?
Actually, I'm an optimist. So I thought, well, 8% is better than nothing. And my family was there, and I was, 52. I was in good health. And I, thought, okay, I'll play their game, and then I'll wake up and I'll be fine. But that's not what happened. I went out, and then I don't know when it was, but I became conscious. And I was looking around. I couldn't move. And it was just total black, and there was no sound, nothing. I was just really confused. I thought, what the heck, where am I, what's going on? And after a little while, it started to get a little lighter, and I thought, good, sun's coming up, something's happening. And as it got a little more light, it was kind of a reddish glow. There was like swirling fog, and that was starting to look creepy. And then all of a sudden, out of this fog came this horrible maniacal voice saying, "Do you know where you are?" And I thought, well, there's not too many answers to this. I'm going to guess hell. And the voice came back with this laugh out of a Lon Chaney movie, the boo ha ha kind of thing, and scared the you know what out of me. And I just turned and ran. When you're on the other side, you don't know you're dead for a while. And I didn't think. I just thought I was in this very creepy place, and I had to get away from that horrible voice. And so as I ran in the darkness, I finally stopped because I was afraid I was going to fall in a hole or hit a wall or something. And I just stood there again, not knowing I didn't have a body. This didn't come till after I got back. So anyway, what happened was a series of segments. It was very bizarre. First, the lights would come up, and the first place I found myself, of all places, was it looked like New York City, but there'd been like an atomic bomb or something horrible had happened, because a lot of the buildings had crumbled, the windows were blown out, the people were screaming, there was fires, big chunks of concrete and piles, and just imagine opening your eyes and being in the middle of this madness. And so I looked around and found some, broken concrete that I could hide behind till I could figure out what was going on. Weird things were happening, like this great big metallic thing went by, and it had a scraping sound to it. And it looked like, in some sort of a alien movie. And I thought, well, geez, maybe it's aliens. I don't know. But there were strange creatures wandering around. Nobody looked friendly. I thought I better try and get inside a building. Maybe, there'd be food or people hiding out. So as I ran to try and get out of the rubble, I started climbing up this piece of concrete that had finger holes in it, and I got almost to the top, and I started slipping, and I fell backwards, and I thought, oh crap, this is going to hurt. And the lights went out, and then the lights would come up, and this happened numerous times. The time that I really thought I was in deep doo-doo was the lights came up, and there was this creature standing in front of me. It looked like Bigfoot, a big hairy, ugly looking guy with a big stick. And I thought, whoa. I looked up, I really had to crane my neck, and I thought, well, I'm not going to make any sudden moves. And then he talked. He said, do you want to get out of here? And I thought, duh, yes. And he says, well, I can get you out. And I said, you can. And he says, yeah, I just got a job for you. You do it for me, and I'll see. I know people. I can get you out of here. So I thought I'd play along. There were no other options. And I asked him what it was, and he kind of waved his hand, and the lights came up behind him, and as far as I could see was just blackberry bushes, big, huge canes all intertwined off into the horizon. And I thought, I got a bad feeling about this. And he handed me some little paper cutting scissors they give children in kindergarten, and says, you need to cut them all down and you'll get out. And then he laughed, not a very pleasant laugh. And I thought, well, I don't have any other options, and I'm a survivor. I'll just play his silly game. And I tried to get down into the bushes and start gnawing away on one cane. They're about an inch thick, and all the bramble spines are scratching into me. And so I finally got one cane cut in half, and then I went to put it behind me to attack another one. And as I turned back around, it grew all the way back. So now this character is laughing uproariously, and I just looked at him in disgust, and he just said, you want to get out or don't you? And I started cutting again. But then the lights went out, and then the lights came up. And this went on and on between the different segments. There was this road, this interminable road that only went, one direction. There was no stars, no moon or anything, just kind of this reddish glow at the horizon. And I'd be on the road, and I just go to the right, because that's what you do when you're driving. And it was just made out of stones and rocks. It looked like the moon, it was just, everything was rocks. And I met several different characters, situations along the road, and then I'd find myself off the road in some other dire thing. It's a little lengthy. It's all in the book, step by step. I did see something unusual for distressing near-death experience or any NDE. I saw living people. That was another reason I didn't really ever consider myself dead, just kind of lost. These two people when I got back later, I tried to figure out why they were there, and it turned out I was given messages to give both of them. And that's always kind of interesting to say, I saw you in hell and I got a message for you. It's not usually well received. So one of the messages I gave, I hadn't talked to her since. That's been 25 years. And the other person really took it to heart. And later on, it really helped her resolve a huge problem in her life. And she came back later, years later, to thank me for it. But again, it was a long time. There's no time in eternity. It's just this eternal now. There was no sun going up or coming down. If I had to guess, laying in that bed when I got back, I couldn't move. I weighed 86 pounds, so I had no muscle mass left. I was just a lump in a bed for a long time, and I would go through it in my head to try and figure out how long I had been there, and it was a long time. But then you come back, and of course I was in the coma almost 3 weeks, so I really don't know when that occurred. But they're not synonymous. Time here and there is no time there. But
Kathy,
so,
Kathy,
go ahead.
This is madness. I just want to ask a question. How did these?
Sure.
I've heard this before. I've read books with this before, with the afterlife and near death experiences and things like that. And they have these tales, these accounts of what you see and what you experience when you're there. As someone who's never had that type of experience, what does this compare? I do your best to explain it if you can, if it's possible. But how does this compare to like a dream, a vivid dream you remember? Is this a different feel, or how does that compare to something like that? Because most of us can relate to having a really vivid dream and be like, "Whoa, shit!" But like, how does this compare to that?
Well, most people say it's more real than being here. The thing is, it's been 25 years, and I can still see every second of it. And you don't remember dreams. The terror that it evokes. I finally did make it to heaven, and I was very lucky. Only about up to 20% of people that have NDEs have some sort of distressing factor to them. The thing about that is we don't like to talk about it. There's nothing like having your mother say, well, gee, Kathy, what did you do we didn't know about that you went to hell? You clam up after you hear something that that a couple of times, because you don't know. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense. Now, again, 25 years later, there's been a lot of research about it. And the conclusion is that bad people don't necessarily have bad experiences, and vice versa. You got a lot of atheists that don't believe in God at all that have wonderful heaven experiences and come back rather changed. So there's nothing to predict what's going to happen. It's not that you had a terrible accident and so you're already nervous or whatever. They don't seem to equate. So that's one unusual thing about it. I think, yes, the fact that you're a changed person when you come back, you just aren't the same once you experience being outside your body and just being the real you, which is your soul. That's that part of us that's just God extended. And you come to realize a lot of things. It's almost like the Matrix. This is not a reality, right? What we're living now. When you go to the real place and then you come back here, it's like being in a play almost. And it takes a long time and a lot of talking to other people who've had these experiences before it starts to solidify as a real, quote unquote, experience that usually means you have a message to bring back. An interesting thing I have found, and I run a monthly sharing group through IANS. That's my group, International Association of Near-Death Studies. We've got thousands of people all over the world that have had NDEs. It's really fun to go to conventions. But I have got a sharing group just for the distressing NDEers. And they're slowly coming out of the woodwork and getting the guts to come forward and share their stories. I've got kind of a percentage. I think I heard that you were a Catholic back there, but I'm not sure. About 85% of us are Catholics that go to hell. And I find that amazing. But I think it's because we were taught from an early age, that Catholic guilt thing, that that we're going to go to purgatory when we die, irrespective of being saved by Jesus and all that. We'll still have to pay for our sins. So I think I know I expected to go to purgatory, and I wasn't disappointed. I think too that I came back to share the message, which when I finally got to heaven is irrefutable, is God is all loving and all forgiving and would never condemn anybody. It's just not the way it works. So I know that's part of my message, is to come back and just reassure people. Sure, we get a life review. I wasn't there long enough to get one, but we get to see the lives that we've planned. Everybody agrees we pre-plan our lives because for whatever reason, and we come down with our soulmates and play it out. And then at the end, we get to go up and get a life review, which is like this cool movie version of you from when you're conceived to when you die. And you get to see your entire life. And it's fascinating, I'm told. And you usually have a couple of angels and guides hanging out, to say, oh, wow, you did pretty good there. Now, kind of slipped up over in that direction. But, it's all good. You learn things. And the other cool thing is they turn it around then and run it again. And you get to experience how it felt to interact with you. Every person you ever ran into, every experience you ever had, you get to see your impact on the planet. And so if you've got some friends and you help some guy out one time and you feel their relief, you feel their gratitude, you feel their love, and maybe you've been kind of snarky with somebody else there, you've done something that, you probably shouldn't have done, and you've hurt them, you've hurt their feelings, you've hurt their reputation, whatever. You get to feel their grief, their pain. And that's not something God punishes you with. You get to just see, karma.
I'm in trouble.
You still got time to fix it.
Yeah. I'm in deep trouble.
Vegas?
Yeah.
He is in deep trouble. But Kathy, this is Joey Vegas, and I just had a little two-part question. Well, one's a comment, one's a question. So from your story, from what I get, New York is hell? Because I could believe that. I can believe that
I lived
New York
in
City
Buffalo
is
for
hell.
4 years. I think that's why I chose that. I lived there 4 years.
Yeah,
but I do believe I took all the rotten stuff that happened in my life and made my own hell, because God doesn't have one. I think there's evil in the world, and there's people that don't want to be around yippee skippies and all of that. And, there's positive energy and there's negative energy, and neither can be, created or destroyed. So there's bound to be some place around in the afterlife where the negative energy hangs out, but it's not something God sends you to. You choose it.
Speaking of,
I wouldn't advise it.
Other quick question for you. Have you read a book by Eben Alexander called Proof of Heaven?
I saw the man speak. I did.
Did you? Okay. So what did
and
you?
I've heard him several times.
What did you think of his? Go ahead.
Well, I've been in IANS for about, I don't know how long now, 15 years or something. So I've heard him speak at several conferences. I don't judge anybody. That was his experience, as everybody has their own experience, and you just don't judge it. I think, I just don't want to judge it. I don't agree with everything. But it's just not up to me to do that.
Yeah.
So the book is called Misfit in Hell to Heaven Expat, Lessons from a Dark Near-Death Experience. Kathy, You know, why do you think, and then we're going to let you go. I know we've had you on long here, and I appreciate you hanging in there and telling us your story. Again, the book, Misfit in Hell to Heaven, Kathy McDaniel. Why do you think you ended up in? Why do you think you ended up in hell to start? And do we all end up there? Will I end? Well, I definitely know I'm going to hell, and they're not going to let me out.
No.
But does
No.
everybody? Does
You
every,
aren't.
does that? Why did
No.
you? Why do you think you ended up in hell first?
Because I think I thought I would. I manifested it. I thought, that I would, and I did. Now I got to give you the heaven side, because that's the good part. At the end of the experience, when I was just about ready to give up, but I didn't, I got blasted into heaven, and that is an incredible experience. It's just love, just multiplied by any number you can come up with, and it's never enough. It's joy, it's bliss, it's happiness, it's unbelievable.
Did you see anybody you knew?
Yeah, I saw my friend who died the month before of leukemia, and he was standing there, and he was happy. He looked like he was about 35. He looked great after, looking like, you die of leukemia, you don't look so good.
Yeah.
So he was happy to see me, and I thought, oh my God, he doesn't know he's dead. And then he started laughing, and he came over to me, and then he said, now, Mary Kay, you've got too much left to do. And I thought, oh shit, they're throwing me out, man. No, I just kept saying, no. And that's when I woke up in the hospital.
And do we know, like, what do you think then, like, when we go to heaven or hell, wherever we go, like you said, this gentleman was 53 years old and died of leukemia, but you saw him at 35 and vibrant. Like, now, do we go back to heaven at what age? Like, when I go to heaven and Ford goes to heaven and we get to look down at Joey Vegas in hell, what ages are we going to be like?
I hope I'm like 25.
Like, how do I know?
I think
that's my age.
About 30s. Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have a body anymore. You just have a spirit, and you can pretty much look like whatever you want.
Ooh.
People will still recognize you. So that's part of the good news too.
So
maybe in heaven, we when we go, our souls recognize our souls, but our own brains perceive you at the age where our brains want to remember you. Not necessarily that one person's going there as a solid entity at a certain age. So it's just different perceptions of everybody else of where they remember that person the best in their lives. That's what I say.
Right. Because there's no brain, brains in heaven.
Right.
So Joey Vegas, that will be your chance to be 190 pounds. That'll be your chance. Yes.
We rib each other a little on the show.
190.
Here.
Sure, I know. Yeah,
handsome smile.
Sure, looking good. Your hair's back.
Looking good.
Teeth
the
are
hair's
straight.
there.
Yeah.
The white socks are good. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's good. No, you can't go to hell unless you really want to. You just can't. So if you don't want to go, you won't. And that's the simple truth, really. If you talk to any of these other people, atheists, they come back and they talk about being changed. They wake up in heaven, and go, whoa, I guess I was wrong.
So it's funny you say atheist. I don't really align myself with any thought or religion. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not much of a believer. I will be honest.
Okay.
And again, this is Ford talking to you right now. I know all of us sound the same, but
I'd call you an agnostic.
So I'm not really into and you're telling me, and again, you can buy Kathy's book. It's on Amazon, Misfit in Hell to Heaven. Am I supposed
Expat.
to? Yeah, expat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see it. You'll know it's
No
hers.
problem.
You'll know it's hers. So, am I supposed to? Kathy, are you telling me right now at 6:40 on the West Coast on Friday, June 7, 2024? Are you telling me that if I don't want to end up in this dystopian hell, even though I love New York City and I wouldn't mind it? But are you telling me that in order for me to not end up having to cut bushes with kindergarten scissors, going on on adventures that I'll never win in hell, In order for me to
Right.
prevent this, are you
Yeah.
telling me that I need to believe?
No.
Oh, well, then I'm okay then.
We become, most of us that come back drop religion, and we consider ourselves spiritual, meaning there's something good out there, and that happens to be God, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to go home. That is, when you die, you go home, and that's just, heaven is the word we use, but it's really home. That's where you started. You came down here, you're doing your thing, and you go home, and you're going to be very happy.
Oh, so I will be home. For me is going to be inside Yankee Stadium. The sun will be shining. The weather will be perfect. Babe Ruth will be
Yeah.
there.
Oh, it'll be something. And,
Yeah.
okay, where was
Yeah.
where was your fear of death before this versus now? Are you, now that you know that's
I
home and it's
was-
a different story? Has your perception and fear changed?
I can't wait. I can't wait to get home. I mean, I want to get my work done. And one of my things to do is obviously be on your podcast. So I can cross that off my list
Hell yeah.
Oh,
and
well,
keep
hell
going
yeah.
down the
We
list
love- we
until
like-
I get it all done and I go home.
So essentially,
It's a-
that explains a lot of when somebody dies young or something like that. Maybe that their purpose here has been fulfilled and they just go back home. That's
Right.
it. There's
Right.
some people have a purpose
They,
for.
they lucked out.
Listen.
Earth is a tough gig, and you got to be a really brave soul to come down here. So consider yourselves brave, and when you go home, it's just a party. It's just a party.
I am afraid of death, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on this show here tonight. Is I am afraid of death, but I'll tell you, I'm not afraid necessarily of dying because, listen, I know that nobody gets out alive, right? So I'm not afraid of death. What I'm afraid of is dying when I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet to die. I'm 41 years old. Damn it. I'm not ready to go. I don't want to die now. I'd rather die when I'm as old as I can possibly be is when I want to go. And I know I don't have much of a choice. So I think that's kind of my thing, Kathy, is like, I'm afraid to die. I don't want to die yet. I have things to do.
Maybe
Okay.
you'll never feel that. Maybe there's not an
Okay.
age for that. There's not an age for that. You might be 85 years old, and right now, as a 41-year-old, your perception of 85, oh yeah, I'll be ready to go. I'm 85. That's about right. But hey, if you don't feel like,
No.
but if you don't feel like
Yeah.
you've accomplished
Yeah,
enough, if you feel
I'm-
like you've done enough, you might not feel ready.
Well, that's okay. When you can always come back.
Damn right.
So that's a little reincarnation deal going, and what we call reincarnation.
Oh yeah, you got lots and lots of lives. You can do whatever you want. You plan them.
Well, I know these two guys I'm on the show with were cicadas in their former life because they're annoying as hell.
Yeah. Coming from the guy who missed a couple of previews, so now he suckered $40 gift cards out of AMC. All right,
The
Kathy,
teenage workers.
Kathy, again, the book is Misfit in Hell to Heaven Expat, and you can get it on Amazon. Where do you want people to buy it where you make the most money?
I don't make much money at all. I don't care. As long as they have a good read, you know.
All right.
Thanks, you guys. This has been fun.
Kathy, can you send me an autographed copy? Do you have a print? Do you have it in print? Or is it just on?
Yeah.
Or is it just on?
No.
Can I
What's
buy
your
it?
ad? What you
Can
want
I-
to give? Well, yes. Well, send me an email for your
Okay.
address.
Can
and
I
I'll
buy?
send you one.
I'll buy it off of you. No bubbles, no troubles. But will you autograph it for me and send it?
Sure.
All right, that's fantastic, Kathy. Again,
Okay,
thank you
just put it in
very
email.
much for joining us tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Bye bye.